provided to the Folk Star, the official newspaper of the Borough of Belmar, and the Asbury Park Press on November 15, 2013, and notice of this meeting was posted on the bulletin board in the school building.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing. Remember our troops and families abroad, or troops abroad and families here at home. Thank you. I appreciate the council taking time to meet tonight. I know there's other both governmental and personal meetings and events they're looking to go to. So with the council's agreement, I'd like to make a motion to move the ordinance calendar. It's all first reading introduction. There's no public comment on the ordinance calendar. But to move the ordinance calendar from really the last item on the agenda, aside from public session, to the first item. So to move that in front of workshop discussion. I don't think we're ready to do workshop discussion. So I'd like to, or I'd make a motion to move the ordinance calendar in the agenda to where we are now in the agenda.
Second. Councilman Becky?
Yes.
Councilman Gomer?
Yes.
Councilman Dean?
Yes.
Councilman Nicolay?
Yes.
Mayor Dyer?
Yes. So going through the ordinance calendar, first reading introduction, ordinance 2013-19, ordinance amending supplementing chapter 42, alcohol beverage control, revised general ordinance of the Borough of Belmar to include limited brewery and plenary brewery licenses. I'd like to offer for first reading introduction.
Second.
Councilman Becky?
Yes.
Councilman Gomer?
Yes.
Councilman Dean?
Yes.
Councilman Nicolay?
Yes.
Mayor Dyer?
Yes. Next is ordinance 2013-20, bond ordinance providing for construction of beachfront buildings in and by the Borough of Belmar, County of Monmouth, New Jersey, appropriating $5 million thereof, and authorized issuance of $4.7 million bonds or notes of the borough to finance part of the cost thereof. So this is ordinance 2013-20. Was this an amended ordinance? Or no?
No.
Okay. So I will offer and move for first reading and introduction.
Second.
Councilman Becky?
Yes.
Councilman Gomer?
Yes.
Councilman Dean?
A bunch of questions real quick. Mayor, can you just explain what each bond is being used for? In the paper, I had two different stories, and I have the bonds here in front of me. It says, including the 5th Avenue Pavilion and the 10th Avenue Pavilion on both bonds. Can you just explain what the 5,000 is going to in the, or I'm sorry, the 5 million and the 2 million?
I could try, but I'm sure Colin Connolly could explain.
Sure,
it much better
I'd
than
be
me.
happy to try. The first bond that was just read is for $5.03 million, and that's against the beach utility, and that is to fund the entirety of the 10th Avenue Public Safety Pavilion and a portion of Taylor Pavilion. The second bond, which was not yet read, is for $1.97 million. That is against the current fund, and that is to pay for a portion of Taylor. By adding these two ordinances together, you arrive at the total construction cost of the two pavilions.
Okay. The two pavilions that we had before, we had a 2-story Taylor and the same building over at 10th, and we're taking the story off of Taylor's, but we're only dropping, a minimum amount of money. Why is that?
Sure, I'd be happy to explain. We see through our revised CCE's construction cost estimates that the removal of the second floor of Taylor will save approximately $1 million. That is offset by what we have as very real-time data is when the 10th Avenue Pavilion was bid, the bids came in $500,000 over CCE. So to be conservative and responsible, that nets out to about $500,000 savings.
And again, this is all going to go out to bid, so hopefully
Yes.
it comes in lower. Well, let's see.
So we really didn't save much money by taking the floor off of the
About $1 million.
Right, remember, half that got eaten up by a tent that.
So really, 2 stories is not that much more expensive than 1 story.
No.
It's-
Another question, Judge Lawson's, his judgment, are we conflicting by passing this with his judgment, like, with his, order? Does anybody, hey, you wanna address that, Counselor?
Yeah, no, I believe that all of this has gone through Mr. Northgrave. His opinion is we're fine with this. Judge Lawson issued an opinion regarding the restraints, but based on the review of his opinion, based on discussions with Mr. Northgrave, this was the recommended course of action.
And in all disclosure, you told us in the past that everything was good to go, and it seems like we lost 2 of those lawsuits, and the 3rd one is still out. Is that fair to say?
Well, I don't think it's fair to say, no. I mean, Mr. Northgrave has been representing your redevelopment area. There were certain issues raised. Remember, the judge hasn't necessarily made a final decision regarding anything, so there's not a winner or loser. I think it's who's restrained with certain actions.
Okay, I read the judgment. I'm just, before I vote on this, I want to make sure that we are not violating his judgment.
Well, it's not a judgment, it's an order.
No order. Maybe what I did with it here. What I did with it. Oh, here it is. My bonds. Give me one more second, look over my notes, make sure I covered everything. So you're basically saying that if we vote on this and it passes, Judge Lawson is not gonna come back and say, what are you guys doing, knock it off. You're saying this is all good to go, no problems whatsoever.
I'm sorry, based on the opinion of Mr. Northgrave and myself, that we're good to go.
I will say that this doesn't, I mean, and I think you'd agree with this, someone could sue us over this as well.
Oh, without question, there can be, I mean, again, there can be any lawsuit filed on behalf of the actions taken. That people haven't exactly been cooperative with your efforts, Mayor, and I would doubt it that they file some sort of application or anticipate filing some sort of application. But at this point in time, based on the order that Judge Lawson entered, or the order of restraints, in Mr. Northgrave's opinion, as I think counsel for the objectors reported, I think the transcript reveals reflected that it was their opinion that Mr. Northgrave is the premier redevelopment attorney in the state of New Jersey. So, I think that Belmar is being represented carefully and cautiously.
Okay. Can I ask, Mayor, real quick, you had stated that, that the council or the town had decided to change the 2-story into a 1-story. Can you clarify who actually made that decision?
Yeah, I guess it's not the governing body, it's the administration. So that was my proposal to the council, for the council to consider.
When?
Well, you're considering it right now.
By passing a bond. Did anybody else get any, I mean, Councilman McGovern, did he talk to you about this, changing from 2-story to 1-story?
Long before it came out in the paper, we were during the campaign, Matt and I would speak, and we would talk that, a lot of people in town thought 1-story was the way to go. I thought, for the better of Belmar, 2 stories was better, As we got closer and closer to, I guess, the judge's decision, I guess he finalized it. I mean, the judge made a decision, case closed. But whether or not he's deciding on what's best for Belmar or what's legal, I'm sure he's doing what's legal as far as that situation with the beach utility and the pavilion's all concerned, but Matt and I had talked about it several times leading up to the campaign, and We decided that one story was a better way.
Because it says right here, in listening to those residents, the borough has decided to amend its plans and redesign the Taylor Pavilion. I'm like, oh, the borough made the decision.
I guess I should have read the administration.
Am I part of the administration?
Well, you're part of the council.
Not part of the administration.
You're part of the governing body, not the administration.
Okay, what am I gonna do? Mr. DuPont, I disagree with you. I think that Mr. Lawson, when I read his, what do you want to call it, it's not a judgment, it's an order. When I read his order, I believe that he had said, don't touch a thing on this until I make my decision in December. And I just don't see what the rush is. I don't see how waiting 15 more days is going to save us anything significant. I don't understand why we have to have an emergency meeting for this. I am voting no.
Councilman Nicolay?
Yes.
Mayor Doherty?
Yes, next is first reading introduction, ordinance 2013-21. Bond ordinance providing for construction of beachfront buildings in the borough of Belmar, the county of Monmouth, New Jersey, appropriating $1.9 million thereof, and authorizing the issuance of $1.8 million of bonds or notes to the borough to finance part of the cost.
And this is actually to be modified.
All right, this is amended?
Yeah, this is
Okay.
amended. So the amount of issuance of the bonds is equal to the appropriation. So it's 1.97.
And 1.97.
Issuance is 1.97.
And that's because what we spoke about regarding the local finance board.
At bond council's recommendation. yes.
Bond council.
You have a second?
Well, do I need to amend do I need to amend that?
You need to make a motion to amend the,
Well, I've been introduced to
well, anyway, right now, the introduction is just simply to amend either the type of graphical or an error in nature. You're correcting the numbers.
that. Gotcha. So I'll make a motion to change the language from authorizing the issuance of $1,871,500 to the, authorizing the issuance of $1,970,000.
Yes.
Mention pursuant to bond council recommendations and corresponding issuance and appropriation.
So need a second?
Second.
Councilman Decker?
Yes.
Councilman Doherty?
Now, this is money that our residents, our taxpayers now have to pay for the pavilion, right?
That is,
Well, it's money that is at risk. It certainly puts taxpayers at risk. You know, this, really the whole post-Sandy thing, aside from the boardwalk, which was pretty concrete, it's really fluid. So this past week, Colleen and I were down in Atlantic City, and we had an opportunity to meet with the DCA Commissioner, Richard Constable, and we're going to be meeting with him along with the EDA Administrator Michelle Brown this coming Tuesday in Trenton regarding a second round of funding that I don't think we're at liberty to explain how much it is, but it's well over $1 billion that's coming to the state that's going to be dispersed through community development block grant money. And in preliminary conversations with them, this certainly was the topic we were talking about.
How do we come up with $1,970,000, Colin?
we arrived at that amount using a space allocation method in conjunction with our auditor, bond counsel, and CFO. So what we did was did a calculation as to a reasonable amount of space within Taylor Pavilion that would be conceivably utilized outside the summer season, and arrived at a calculation which was approximately overall about 40%. So that's how we came up with the 1.97.
So in other words, the beach utility pays 60%,
Yes.
and now the
Current fund would have 40%.
have to pay 40%.
Yes, based on our space allocation.
Doesn't it seem like the beach uses that pavilion more than 60% of the time?
Yes, and so the way we approached the exercise, which was at the encouragement of Bill Northgrave and Mike DuPont, was to take a nod towards Judge Lawson's order. We subscribed 100% of the concession space to the beach. We prescribed 100% of beach badge operations to the beach. And then all space that remained, we took a look at usage. And while the summer season really only covers approximately 4 months, the volume of events in those months tipped the usage to about 50-50. And so when you add all those numbers together,
50-50?
about 50-50.
Well, now, I worked in that pavilion for many, many years. There are many days in a row where that pavilion is not used in November, December, January, February, where for 100 straight days during the summer, it is used for hours, from like 9 a.m. until 10 p.m. at night. I mean, really, just people using it in the winters, the women's club, and they're only there for like a 3-hour meeting on a Friday. Some Fridays, sometimes they don't even have a meeting. Sometimes, I bet you the beach uses it more than 50% of the time. Bet you it's more like 70-30.
I absolutely appreciate your perspective, and I agree with a lot of what you're saying. I think we tried to arrive at something that was conservative
To make this judge feel nice about
and in
Belmar.
line with the intentions.
But he's never been to the pavilion, right?
Not to my knowledge, no.
I'll vote yes.
And this is for the,
Right now, we're just amending the language in the ordinance. We're not, we
Right.
voted to
Good
introduce
reminder.
it.
So I have a motion to amend the language, then we had some questions about the language, so I still need a second.
No, we got a second, I'm just going through roll call.
yes, so many yes.
Councilman Nicolay?
Yes.
Yes. So now I will introduce or offer for first reading introduction ordinance 2013-21 as amended.
Second?
Second?
Councilman Decky?
Yes.
Councilman Govern?
Yes.
Councilman Dean?
This is for the Taylor Pavilion.
Yes.
Councilman McGovern, in the testimony, it has Mayor Doherty and Councilman Brian McGovern promulgated an analysis indicating that 97% of the individuals or groups who have used the freestanding pavilion or Belmar's Fifth Avenue were Belmar residents, Belmar organizations, or otherwise had some connection with the borough. Now you're saying it should be 50-50.
Your point?
Why change your statement? I mean, it's already in law, and all of a sudden,
Now,
now,
it doesn't change the statement, it's not in law.
well,
But, for instance, we have.
well, he made the statement at the August 7, 2013 council meeting, and now he's changing it.
A lot of those people that are using the pavilion during the summer for the beach are Belmar people. Belmar people come to use the pavilion
For summer events.
for summer events. I mean, you have for over 50 years, I'm sure it's 50 years, every Monday night you have the concerts, and on Thursday nights you have the dance bands. We used to have the square dancing. You have other activities where mostly Belmar people, they're summer people.
I think the point is that most people who use the Taylor Pavilion, most individuals, probably live outside of town. But if you have those concerts, you definitely have some people from Belmar. So
Absolutely.
you may have 300 people at the concert. If you got 20 people from Belmar, we would list that in that category of
Sure.
90% of the time.
I'm not
I mean,
arguing,
we put those concerts on for Belmar people. Certainly other people can come and enjoy it. Makes our town look great to the people outside of town that wouldn't want to come here. But we don't do it, we don't put on those concerts and dances for people from out of town. We put them out for Belmar residents.
that's why, I'm not arguing what number's correct. I'm just arguing your number's changed. That's all I'm arguing. Hey,
No, you misinterpreted my,
I just,
Statement.
that's fine, all I do is read what it says here, and,
well, why don't you come talk to me?
well, I'm talking right now, I'm just reading what it says.
Why don't we do it somewhere else?
Okay, and also, since we already, Judge, one of the things of this lawsuit is to put a formula together of what we're allowed to allocate to and from the beach utility. And we did that already? Is that, Colleen, you did it 40%? You already made this
Are
calculation?
you glad that the judge is making the Belmar residents pay more money for it?
No.
It sounds like you are.
I,
Sounds like you are glad to see Belmar lost this.
well, I'm not. Actually, I don't pay for any of this.
Listen, are you listening to yourself?
I am, you know what, Councilman McGovern, I mean, if you want to attack me just for asking questions, I'm just trying to figure out, look, I read a lawsuit here that I'm a part of, and we lost, and now you're attacking me because I want to stop the.
Because you're attacking me.
No, I just.
Yes, you are.
You have a statement here that absolutely contradicts the statement you just made.
We just explained to you, and you didn't accept the answer.
You know what? Because I don't agree with it, so let's agree.
Well, I don't
to
agree
disagree.
with you.
Well, that's fine. Nobody said you have to. You can just vote the way you want to vote.
And I did.
So,
Well, I'll tell you, Councilman Bean, the reason why we're doing this is based on the advice of our counsel. So, you know, if you'd like to have a conversation with him, if you want to abstain on this, this is again for first reading introduction, if you'd like to abstain.
I just,
feel free to do that.
all I'm
You can
asking
contact
is,
Mr. Northridge.
did we come up with a formula already, even though the judge is going to make one?
It's two completely different things.
Actually, you just told me a percentage. Colleen, did you not tell me a percentage? You
She
told me
did.
how you did it.
She did.
Is that a formula? Is that a formula?
Based on this ordinance.
Is that a formula?
I just explained how we arrived at the calculation.
With the formula. Okay, so you guys already have a formula, even though it seems like that this lawsuit is gonna force us to do another one.
Again, I would tell you the
No
best thing to
answers.
do
I got
would be to contact Mr. Northridge. If you don't feel like voting yes, you can always
Alright.
vote to abstain.
You know what? I believe that we're gonna violate the order of Judge Lawson, and I'm voting no.
Councilman Nicolay? Mayor Garrett?
Yes. Last but certainly not least, ordinance 2013-22, ordinance of the Borough of Belmar, the County of Monmouth, providing for the cancellation of bond ordinance 2013-15.
Second.
Councilman Durkee?
Yes.
Councilman Goodwin?
Yes.
Councilman Dean?
Just out of curiosity, why didn't we go ahead with the vote on the petition on this? This is the one this is the bond that has the petition against it. Why didn't we do the petition?
Because I was advised by council that
So
it did not qualify,
Mr. DuPont
no, Mr. Wood,
with the Northridge.
that it did not fall under what can be on a ballot.
And was he correct or incorrect?
We don't know yet.
Actually, you do. I mean,
No, we don't.
it's pretty clear.
Pretty
That,
sure that it's an order issuing restraints, not a decision.
Okay. You know what? I completely disagree. I thought, Eric, you know what? I am gonna vote yes on this.
Councilman Nicolay?
Yes.
Mayor Garrett?
Yes. That's all for our ordinance calendar. So we'll go back to the regular progression. Workshop discussion, we have nothing for workshop discussion today. Petitions, any petitions for the audience? Don't see any. Next would be reports of mayor and council.
Okay, I really don't have much to report. I just want to congratulate the girls' varsity soccer team from St. Rose. Unfortunately, they lost in the state championship game to Morris Catholic. Morris Catholic has won the most state championships in soccer of anybody in the state, so they lost to a very talented team. And I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, and hope during the holidays you try and do some shopping right here in Belmar. Okay, that's my report.
Council President.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On November 13th, Councilwoman-elect Janice Blackburn, Belmar resident Brendan Reed, and I attended the monthly meeting of the New Jersey Transit Board in Newark. Brendan and I presented brief statements describing the need of an accessible boarding ramp for individuals with mobility issues at our train station. I had been in correspondence since June with executives of the New Jersey Transit regarding this matter. Assemblyman Kane and Rybel have been of assistance on the topic. Since the meeting in Newark, a spokesman for New Jersey Transit, Paul Wyckoff, has reached out to me suggesting a meeting with Belmar representatives to investigate the possibility of a ramp at our station. While no date has set for such meeting, I'm hopeful that it will be very soon, and I'm hopeful that this is a positive sign, and I'm going to ask a group of the board to come to Belmar with their engineers to see what is possible, because we do have a big daily ridership, not to mention tourism in the summer, and heaven forbid we have another terrible emergency like Sandy, and all people would have to evacuate, that we would need that ramp. So keep your fingers crossed for us. Please remember the Mayor's Wellness Campaign Holiday Food Drive, which began on November 1st and will run until December 20th. Collection baskets are located at the Main Street entrance of this building in the public library. Also, a toy drive to benefit needy families is being sponsored by the Borough of Belmar. New unwrapped toys should be dropped off to Kelly Williams, our Social Services Director. Thanks to our Recreation Director, Ray Claudio, the Borough is hosting an education program in collaboration with the ARC of Monmouth County. Intellectually challenged young adults can benefit greatly from this program. It is held here at Borough Hall in the community room on Monday evenings. For more information, please contact Ray here at the Borough. Recently, an amendment was made to the ordinance with regard to feeding animals here in Belmar. The ruling now states that the feeding of birds, etc., on both public and private properties is prohibited. While we all love the ducklings, geese, and ducks, the droppings are a health hazard and unsightly. There are people in town still feeding the birds. I've had more complaints recently, so if you know of anyone, please let them know that the ordinance is in place for both public and private properties. Pastor Grace Scarl of the Calvary Baptist Church invited me to participate in the service for Belmar sailors who lost their lives on the USS Juneau on November 13, 1942. Seaman McConnell, Seaman Class, Seaman Frigario, and Seaman Sherman were all remembered. I attended the meeting for residents of the Rhode Island Point on Saturdays, November 16th. The topic was the rehabilitation of the water mains in our area. The presenters, including our own Mike Campbell and Fran Hines, did an excellent job explaining the process, the time frame, and considerations to be given to residents during the rehabilitation. Belmar Cares, our local breast cancer support group, will be donated to local organizations and agencies such as Mary's Place at Christmas time. Mary's Place is a respite place for women in cancer treatment. We are able to do this thanks to the generous support of our residents and people from the surrounding areas. Please know that beach badges will go on sale here at the Borough starting December 1st, and I hope everyone has a very happy Thanksgiving to you and your loved ones. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Councilman Dean?
Thanks, Mayor. Mr. Mayor, I have a question on, a special meeting today. Why did we have to have a special meeting? Why couldn't this wait till the first meeting in December? You had canceled the meeting that would probably happen yesterday, you know, the second Wednesday in the month. But also we had to have a special one on Thursday, basically just to get these ordinances passed. I just wonder, what is so special about these ordinances that we have to do this right now at a special meeting?
So we're able to move forward with rebuilding the pavilion.
And I couldn't wait until December, you know, the first meeting in December? I mean, that amount of time, throw everything off?
Yeah.
Why, I mean, what would throw it off? I mean, if we just had an extra 15 more days, then everything would have got done on time. But I mean, I think we're already off our schedule here.
Off our schedule for what?
You had stated, I think, we wanted these done by Memorial Day. And then you had stated this, we'll pass that already. I mean, the 15th, I don't see pulling everybody out for a special meeting just to get these ordinances rolling. It just seems excessive for 15 days, 10 days, how many days it is. Okay? And also, I had asked for a reverse 911 call to go out to let everybody know about this. And that's when we had thought that there was going to be an emergency appropriation of funds. And they decided it's not worthy of a reverse 911. So I came up with a top 5 list of more worthy things that are reverse 911, you know, broadcast you guys instead of a appropriations meeting to spend your money. Number 5, the opening of the miniature golf course was worthy of a reverse 911, but you know, not letting you know we're taking out $7 million in bonds. The opening of the 9th Avenue Pier. The Mayor Wellness Campaign blood drive. That was very important. You guys had to know about it. The Belmar Kids Race and Fireworks. You guys got broadcasted on that. And the number one most important thing that you guys have to know is that the Belmar Touch a Truck and the Halloween Parade are coming up, but it's not as worthy, well, it's, you know, spending $7 million in bonds just isn't quite up there with the Touch a Truck and Halloween Parade. That kind of annoyed me, so that's all I have, Mayor, thank you.
Thank you. I don't have much of anything. Only I want to mention is, you know, last year, a gentleman named Joe Davidson, he's a DJ, goes by DJ Jersey Joe, did something called 10th Avenue Freeze Out, where he raised a tremendous amount of money, raised about $100,000 for families that were really impacted by Sandy, and for Belmar and Lake Como. Well, he's going to do it again this year. So it's on Small Business Saturday, which is a Saturday after Thanksgiving. It's $20 a ticket. You can buy them then, or you can get them ahead of time. Stay Gold will be selling them this Saturday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Again, that's $20 a ticket. It gets you free admission into all the provided bars, 2 free drink tickets. There'll be live bands, there'll be DJs. There's going to be stuff for children earlier in the day, maybe from noon to 2. Does that sound right, Colleen?
Sounds right.
About noon to 2, and then from 2 o'clock on, it becomes more of a adult gathering. So, and all the money will go to families that are on Kelly's waiting list. You know, we're still looking to raise more money to help those families, to get them grant money. We ran out of the money we had. So that's all for me, but if you can come out and support it, I know it's the weekend after Thanksgiving, but it's a great cause, as you can imagine. Next, approval of the minutes.
Yes. I move that the minutes of the regular meeting held on November 6th, 2013 be approved as recorded, and that a copy thereof be posted on the borough's website.
Second.
Councilman Deitch?
Yes.
Councilman Govern?
Yes.
Councilman Dean?
Yes.
Mayor Darrell?
Yes, and just before we do move forward, just for the record, obviously Councilwoman Nicolay had to excuse herself, so I guess she's not going to get any of the votes moving forward, right? First one, you know, let me, yeah, so let's go to public session on the resolution calendar. I guess before we do that, let me amend the resolution calendar.
Sure.
I'm going to make a motion to amend the resolution regarding the 2013 capital budget amendment. It's going to be modified to reflect no down payment. So that language will be added in, no down payment. So make a motion to amend that resolution. Second.
Second.
Councilman Deitch?
Yes.
Councilman Govern?
Yes.
Councilman Dean?
No.
Mayor Darrell?
Yes. Next is make a motion to remove the emergency appropriation for down payment.
Second.
Councilman Deitch?
Yes.
Councilman Govern?
Yes.
Councilman Dean?
Yes.
Councilman Mayor Darrell?
Yes. And lastly, we're going to add a resolution to ask the local finance board for a waiver for the down payment requirement. So I'm going to offer and move for that resolution to be added for the calendar.
I'll second that.
Councilman Deitch?
Yes.
Councilman Govern?
Yes.
Councilman Dean?
So we're asking them to waive that if they say yes, then we re-vote on this?
Well, no, it's not we vote on it, but if you remember, one of the ones you voted no on, we changed the amount for ordinance 2013-21.
What if they say no, what happens?
You'll come back. But our bond counsel has advised us, based on their,
We're just voting to add this onto the agenda right now. And Mayor Darrell?
yes. So let's have public session now on the resolution calendar. Any public comments? This is just on the resolution calendar. Just raise your hand if you call on. Yes, Gene?
You said calendar, is that the agenda?
The resolution, anything listed as a resolution.
Any resolution?
Any resolution.
Gene Cameron, Fourth Avenue. I have a question regarding this resolution authorizing the signing of an access agreement between the Borough of Belmar and Freeman's Bakery. It's my understanding that's for remediation activities. Can you give us some idea of the scope of the remediation that's being proposed?
I do, I'd be happy to. The scope of the remediation is essentially a spill that emanated from some underground storage tanks under Freeman's Bakery. That spill now runs underneath the parking lot behind. And their remediation is to remove about 9 feet to fill of the contaminated soil, bring in clean fill, compact it, and remake the parking lot.
How many parking spaces would be impacted?
It's roughly a third of the lot.
1/3 of the lot. Is there a mechanism built into whatever agreements are being discussed here as to how the borough is to be compensated for loss of use?
Not so much for loss of use. We have negotiated a performance bond to ensure that the work is done correctly and soundly, and an escrow for inspections to make sure it's done correctly.
Is there any motivation once the remediation work takes place? Is the insurance company or Freeman's Bakery, is there any motivation for them to complete the work and minimize the loss of use of the parking spaces?
I certainly don't want to speak for them, but I think their motivation is completing the sale of the building, which needs that remediation work done. But again, I'm not going to speak for them. That's me supposed to.
I suggest that the mayor and council establish a daily loss of use compensation to the municipality for each parking space for each day that is lost as a result of remediation.
May I comment, Gene? They're removing polluted soil, that's correct? And I think I would be willing to trade the loss of those parking spaces to get that polluted soil out of Belmar. So, I mean, have a time frame, but,
I disagree with you.
okay.
That soil is, contaminated soil is, they are the responsible party. That's why they're cleaning it up, okay? We're the ones, it's our property that has been damaged by their oil leakage, okay? I want to remind you also that the Belmar taxpayers are on the hook here for $600,000 in a bond that we took out, about a year and a half ago, to repave that parking lot, okay? We're going to be paying for that for a long time here. Now what's being proposed here is a loss of use. I suggest you firmly put in there so that they're motivated to perform the work as quickly as possible. That parking lot is heavily utilized. You have a number of restaurants there. You have Conley Camping and Wright, Conley Station or whatever it is across the street. That parking lot is heavily utilized. And to be without 1/3 of it for any period of time, the borough should be compensated, and that's their responsibility.
Thank you,
And by the way, it's not Freeman's Bakery, it's their insurance company.
Gene. Any other comment? Yes, sir.
Mayor, Council. Peter Pyro, 300 North Boulevard. With regard to the resolution authorizing the Borough of Belmar to enter into an interlocal agreement with Lake Como and Spring Lake. I was here at the last meeting. Went to the SMERSA meeting to try to convince them to make it a 4-party agreement. Mike Ruppel and the SMERSA board would not agree. I tried to convince them to delete the indemnity clause, which seemed to be a poison pill in the agreement, whereby municipalities would indemnify SMERSA. They would not withdraw that in lieu of placing in naming everybody as additional insureds under the insurance policies of each of the municipalities. They wouldn't agree to that. It was clear that they were backing off of participating in it. So we tried to convince them that they're not. But I thank Colleen for her efforts to getting this a 3-party three-party agreement and get this.
Thank you for your advocacy on this.
We tried. Also, Spring Lake says that they will work on fixing the outfall pipe as soon as their administrator's been ill for a while. He promised by next week. I said I'd see him next week if it wasn't done. And then he also indicated there's a remote chance they may modify the four outfall pipes that are there now to make them permanent drain pipes in addition to the current outfall pipes. So we're working on it. But again, thanks Colleen for her efforts.
Is this time to talk about the bonds?
No.
No?
Seeing no other comments, I'll make a motion to close the public portion for the resolution calendar.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Let's take the non-consent first. So, I can vote on the payment bill, right? Resolution authorizing payment of bills list. I'll offer a move for its adoption.
Second.
Councilman Decky?
Yes.
Councilman Lovell?
Yes.
Councilman Dean?
Yes.
Mayor Doherty?
Yes. Next will be the resolution authorizing the 2013 capital budget amendment, offering move for its adoption as amended.
Second?
Councilman Decky?
Yes.
Councilman Lovell?
Yes.
Councilman Dean?
No.
Mayor Doherty?
Yes. Third is a resolution to ask the local finance board for a waiver of down payment. I'll offer a move for its adoption.
Second.
Councilman Decky?
Yes.
Councilman Lovell?
Yes.
Councilman Dean?
I would like to see if they would waive this, so I'm saying yes.
Mayor Doherty?
Yes. Next, I'll offer a move for adoption the consent agenda. Not much on there,
Do you have a second?
I'll second it.
Councilman Decky?
Yes.
Councilman Lovell?
Yes.
Councilman Dean?
Yes.
Mayor Doherty?
yes. So that concludes our resolution calendar. We already did our ordinance calendar, so we'll move to the public session. Public session, very simple. Just raise your hand, wait to be called on, come up to the microphone, and you have 5 minutes to make whatever comments you like, talk about anything you like. Yes, David?
David Schneck, 302 C Street. So just to be clear, the $7.5 million that we originally were going to appropriate, it was going to end up being at least $500,000 more than that because of the miscalculation of the price, right? If we didn't take the second story off, because we took the second story off, and by the way, $1 million difference is a lot of money in my opinion. $1 million is actually at $400 per household in Belmar, you know, so to me, that's not chump change, that's real money, at least for people who make the kind of salary I do. But what I wanted to, so that's true, right, that it went down by $1 million because weren't doing the second floor, but it went up by $500,000 because of a misestimation of the price, is that right?
Well, it went down $1 million by
Right.
removing the second floor.
Right.
However, 10th Ave was higher than what our engineers originally estimated.
Right, so the bonds, the totals only went down $500,000. Just on one misunderstanding, I think that a lot of people have is that the lawsuit, doesn't force us to pay for something that otherwise would have been paid for by beach revenues. What it does is it clarifies what we're allowed to charge the beach and what we're not. And if there hadn't been this lawsuit and we just built the whole thing and just started charging people at the beach for it, we wouldn't have been indemnified against somebody at some future point suing us, and it wouldn't even have to have been the state. I guess what you're saying is we're hoping the state wouldn't notice what we were doing because Lawson, laid down the law is the law. So what we were hoping is that the state wouldn't notice that we were doing this and that by having the lawsuit it ruined everything, or is that what we're saying? And I also want to make the point that it wouldn't have just have to have been the state that might have eventually prevented us from using beach revenues from paying for a second story for Taylor, because there's all kinds of private advocacy groups out there for beach access and such, and they could have, you know, they're suing towns all over the place for violating, you know, right to access to the beach and various things, and they could have sued us like 2-3 years from now, you know, saying, why are we paying revenue, you know, higher beach badges, or even if the badges didn't go up, why are beach badge revenues being used to pay for a banquet hall or something? So, you know, I think, you know, Brian, you were saying that Jim was happy that we lost the lawsuit. Well, I'm happy that we have a clear understanding of what we're allowed to do and not allowed to do, so that we don't go spending millions of dollars and then learn that, oops, taxpayers are gonna have to pay for that after all, you know? So that this is a good thing, not a bad thing, because the Lawson didn't write the law, he just clarified it, so we understand it, so we know what we're allowed to do and not allowed to do. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
But I don't think, we never try to sneak anything past anybody. We truly believe the second story would be better for Belmar in the years to come in the future. The judge ruled, he said we can't do it.
Actually,
Okay, Brian,
That's it.
do you think it would have been worth $1 million?
I'm not gonna argue with, I'm not
Well,
gonna
you're
argue
saying
with the
something,
judge.
so
I'm
can I
sorry, I'm
respond?
sorry to do this, Dan, but you can continue on, because you have another minute and 40 seconds, because I stopped it once Brian started talking, Councilman ago. But everything has to go through the chair, so just keep things in an orderly fashion. If you have anything you want to talk about or anything like that, you have to address it to the chair. But I did stop your time, so you have another minute and 40 seconds.
Thank you. The thing is that we could still build a second story on Taylor if we thought it was worth $1 million for taxpayers' money and just pay for it ourselves, right?
I don't think we have the money.
Right, so it's not, so,
I can't do this again, but just you got to address everything to the chair of the.
okay, well, I'm responding to what he said,
Minute
you know?
30 seconds, you can keep going.
That's it, thank you.
All right. Yeah, Jim.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council. Jim Camaras, Jimmy's Place, 804 Ocean Ave. I just wanted to address the walks and the runs that we put on here in Belmar. And I guess the purpose of that is to bring people into town. If I'm not mistaken, correct? It was in my experience this will be going into my 4th season at Jimmy's Place. I like the idea, but it really came to my attention this year when we had the runs and the walks. And I think I can speak for some of the other businesses, which I'm not speaking for them, but their feeling is kind of the same as mine. That it's a spectator's thing, sport, for people to come and watch. And folks that come down to see it are not allowed to come down and park their cars anywhere near Ocean Ave. And it came to a head this year when my manager, Pete, who's in the audience today, one particular day, was stopped up on Main Street. Wasn't allowed to come down to the store. One of the officers here in town told me he couldn't come and park. He told him, well, the manager at Jimmy's Place, says, no, you have to park up here, so you have to park up on Main Street and walk. My feeling is that, let's say somebody came to Belmar that particular day, didn't even know they were having a walk or a race, and they got turned off by that they couldn't park. And my question is why, and then they're gonna go somewhere else. They're not gonna hang around, they're gonna go to Asbury, so we're kind of chasing them out of Belmar that particular day, or they go to Point. My question to you, Mayor and Council, is there a reason why we can't let them come down 5th, 6th, 7th, or 8th? I mean, keep them off of Ocean Ave, I understand that, for parking. Is there a reason why we can't let them come a little closer to park on those side streets?
The only time it's blocked off is if for the Belmar 5 mile, it leaves throughout town, it doesn't just stay on Ocean Avenue. For something like the Chase, most of all of it's on Ocean Avenue, except some parts by 20th or 8th Street area, 18th area. So, we try to do them early in the morning, and get it open in time for 9:30, 10, when we see most people start to come to the beach. But we'll certainly take it into consideration.
Okay, thank you very much.
And also just a shout out to Jimmy's Place. Everyone knows who came when we had our ceremony for the anniversary of Sandy. Jimmy opened up his place and gave free pizza to everyone. At Jimmy's.
Jimmy's.
Brendan Reed, 109th Avenue. Just a little bit of a call out here. This Thanksgiving, I want to recommend everyone to come out to walk. Best place to walk over that turkey is on our boardwalk. And when you do so, please reflect on where we are today. Remember where we were a year ago, and to give thanks for what is truly important in our lives, which is our family, friends, and our loved ones. Thank you.
You go ahead. Sorry, Jim. You're on.
Good evening, Council. Rich Seidel, 201 Surf Avenue. Peter and myself and a bunch of us went to the SMERSA meeting. And during the meeting, they brought up, in addition to the local agreement that we've talked about, that I will no longer going to participate in, they brought up this issue that I didn't fully understand, whereby they said the dam, there's a dam now, it's considering a dam, and the ownership is Monmouth County, Belmar, and Spring Lake. And there was some type of engineering study or survey undertaken to see if we would be up to the standards of a dam. So my question is, what impact does that have on residents of Belmar, and how does that come into play with the $1.4 million in FEMA money that we basically petitioned to assist us with the remediation of the lake, and where we stand on that?
I don't know if we're able to give you a full answer right now. You want to take a shot?
What I can tell you is that the classification of that space as a dam certainly complicates things, but doesn't necessarily make things impossible. We have asked the Department of Environmental Protection for clarification and a meeting with all of the partners who are owners of that dam to better understand the impact of that upon our grant application and what our mitigation measures are. So, like, as Matt said, I don't have a complete answer yet, but we're awaiting that meeting with the EPA and we should have some better intel.
Yeah, so we don't, we still need to find out more.
I'm just, in thinking this through, I asked the question at that meeting, which I didn't fully understand either. I asked them, who is contributing to all of the water flowing in from the west end of the lake? They also indicated that Bull Township, Spring Lake Heights, and they didn't indicate that they were contributors either, because they know they have areas behind Food Town and things of that nature. What I really don't understand here is that we continue to kind of wait for repairs on our lake, and it's affecting so many residents of Belmar, Lake Como, and Spring Lake, that why can't townships that are basically putting forth all of this water be held accountable in some fashion towards the assessment of the costs? So when you look at this project, I'm just really asking for people to consider whether they levy a tax or some type of assessment for Spring Lake Heights, Bull Township, because they're the ones that are putting all the water into the lake along with Lake Como. That's all I really have to say.
And one of the things we're going to modify with our tourism is we're going to tell people, come see Belmar's beautiful dam. Mary can make it sound good.
Gene Kramer, 4th Avenue. Well, I was going to mention, I'd like to make another recommendation for consideration for emergency planning here. Remember a couple of meetings back, I made a recommendation that law enforcement communicate any evacuation orders. And one here, historically, Belmar Elementary School was offered as a shelter before storms, okay? And I noticed that I was very disappointed this time. We got the reverse 911 call, and I believe it referred us to Brisbane Treatment Center out in Farmingdale, okay? I don't know how successful that was. I know one thing for sure, in the middle of the storm, I would not like to go out there and try to find that place, and I've been there before. Belmar Elementary School is the most substantial structure that we have here in town. It's one of the tallest buildings that we have. It's built masonry. It's at a much higher elevation than Municipal Hall here. I'm glad that we didn't have any fatalities with the last storm, but I tell you, I listened to things and I saw the water. This building itself was very close to going under, with seniors that were brought here because of the problems that they had over in their building. I wonder whether some, at least preliminary understanding with the Board of Education here in Belmar could be undertaken to perhaps make that structure available, especially not necessarily for police or emergency services, but more for health and welfare of the residents ourselves. The invitation to go to Brisbane, I don't know, maybe you can tell me, did anybody go there? Or was that just telling residents that, why don't you go into somebody else's jurisdiction? Like I said before, historically, the elementary school in town here was offered as a shelter. And I believe, number one, it's in the center of the town. Number two, the ground itself is at fairly high elevation. Number three, the building is 3+ stories high. Number four, it's going to take quite a ways to knock that one over. And number six, I parked my van and spent the last 6 hours of the storm right across from Dunkin' Donuts there next to the school. The lights did come out. There's emergency backup lighting there for all the exits. I understand that it may be a problem and quite a job to electrify that building, but this is what flashlights are for. I believe that is still a better place to shelter people with the storm. Plus, there's a lot of people that would just not come to Borough Hall. The other thing is maybe when a school budget comes along, if we knew that was a place that could be a shelter, we would perhaps look more favorably on approval of that budget.
Thank you. Yes, Bill.
Bill Marker, 219 Second Avenue. I just had some quick questions, and you may have given this information previously, but I just didn't have the clear answer on it. When the buildings got knocked down, we got insurance money.
Some insurance money.
What was it? Do you guys have a total on that?
I think it was approximately under $500,000 that was on 10th Avenue.
Just on the one, we didn't have coverage on.
No.
And then
We should have burned it down.
the FEMA money. Are they giving us any money to rebuild Taylor Pavilion?
Yes. Unfortunately, right now, FEMA rotates a lot of people out, so we continue to have different people come in, and we give them the same information we gave them for the last 6 months. And they ask us the same questions they asked us 5 months ago, and we give them the same answers we gave them 5 months ago. So that's a work in progress, but it seems like we're getting closer to actually getting a hard number as to what they're going to give us.
Got a good one now.
And is FEMA gonna give us money even though we're not building at the proper elevation? Because I know that happened in Avon, and that's why the Avon's FEMA money got postponed, I guess you can say, and then they came back with the proper elevation. Are we at the proper elevation to build these pavilions?
Yes.
And so if there's no issue between elevation, because I heard that as hearsay between the two towns, that's what held up. So that has no issue with us getting funded by FEMA. When is the FEMA money coming? Because our budgets are getting quite large. The amount we're borrowing is getting quite large. When are we gonna see this money from FEMA? Have they given any indication?
Well, it comes in, FEMA releases the money to the state Office of Emergency Management, and then we have to jump through hurdles and hoops to get that money. So it comes in, FEMA may give $9 million for the boardwalk. Out of that, we get $1 million one week, so we get some money after that. It's a slope, it trickles in.
Can you get any money from the vehicles that we purchased? Because it seems like DPW got all new trucks and police department got all new trucks and.
If you want, you have a list of things we can get you answers, but we can give you a detailed breakdown.
Just on vehicles.
I don't think they were turned in.
We've submitted vehicles, yeah.
Because they're not online.
FEMA on those?
The worksheets aren't online for the vehicles.
Doesn't mean we have not submitted them. As we've talked before, those are in revision.
Have they given you any indication on that, or is it just kind of?
Well, you work with them through the process, so they wouldn't, if they didn't think they would reimburse us, they wouldn't let us put it on the worksheet.
Any idea on what that budget number is of what
Not
the
tonight.
vehicles?
I can get that.
We can get it for you, we don't have it.
Now, I'm just wondering, because we're spending all this money and I don't see FEMA coming back with it yet, it's scaring a lot of taxpayers.
FEMA's coming back with it.
Okay.
It's just gonna take a while to get into our coffers.
I'd say FEMA's been a great partner so far.
There were a lot of issues after Katrina, so there's a lot more levels of authorization to release those funds.
Okay. Great, thank you.
Connie?
I'm gonna say something else, my bad. I'm very
Just name and address for the record, please.
Connie de la Puebla, 1002 Main Street, Belmar. I feel upset because we have a law, they say how to park in a main street or a side street or whatever. I observe different people parking the wrong side of the street. I'm trying to go easy way with the police department. I went to nice, peaceful, they laugh at me, they don't pay attention to me, so that's why I do this here now. I apologize to them, I should not apologize because they should do their duty. It's a cars parking there, that nights 5 to 6 not supposed to park. One page this way, like me, I have to get out because the parking is very difficult now with all the restaurants. It's been very difficult. So a lot of times I park where I find, then I have to put my alarm to wake me up and go, so then I'm there at 5 to 6 in the morning because the sweeper. It's a car there, last Friday. The Saturday not supposed to be there, it was there. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, even now, it's still there. And I'm making my, to the, how you call it, with the answer the phone, the police department. Dispatcher. And I came today, personal, because I don't see no action, because I park my car, when I leave there, and I'm just respect. And if I have my car, because I saw the neighbors, they have the car, they have ticket. And another neighbor, they have ticket. And the other car, control, have no ticket. That's making me angry. Very angry. So we should take care of that. We cannot make it law on one and make it no law on the other. We can't. Because I don't want to see that again. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Connie. Seeing no other hands, I'll make a motion to close the public portion. Oh, come on up.
Julie DeSanctis, 101 6th Avenue. I just want to understand a little bit, I'm not very clear on the down payment on the emergency appropriation. What happened with that?
It was removed.
Why?
We discussed it with our Belmar Council this afternoon, we removed it
For what reason was it?
because they told us we should remove it.
Did it have anything to do with that it was incorrectly applied for, or?
I don't know what the rationale was, but when the council tells us to do something with the borough attorney or redevelopment attorney, we usually do it.
Okay. I I wanted to remind you that in September, you had told us in council and also through the newspapers that you were going to do a better job at informing the public regarding what's going on with these pavilions. And I find what's happening here tonight the exact opposite of what you said. We're in the middle of a court case. What's the rush for this $7 million bond?
Well, you're actually a plaintiff in that court case, so I don't know if I can even address that.
Well, again, anything that's dealing with the merits of the case together with the substantive issues, I would not suggest that you comment on. I know that Mr. Northway is representing the borough with respect to this lawsuit. With that being said, Joy, you're a plaintiff in this case, anyway?
I'm one of them.
I'm one of them. So with that being said, in overabundance of caution, I recommend that we not get into a dialogue regarding the case nor anything associated with that case.
And that would include the need to move forward so quickly. You feel that that's in the parameters of that within that?
Well, again, Judge Lawson issued an opinion as to what the borough could or could not do. Mr. Northgrave gave the opinion that this process was okay. So if you had any questions regarding that, I know that your counsel is Kenny Pringle. I think you can reach out to Mr. Northgrave as to his opinion based on these issues.
I have one more question that's not related to the lawsuits. We've accumulated a tremendous amount of fees for engineers and for architects for the original 3 pavilions, 2 of which are now scrapped, I think. I know of at least $84,000 for the engineer. I know Sonnenfeld had a $46,000 bill, and I know that I only have copies of bills that are through July. What's our debt for all of these engineering and architect bills?
I don't know, but we'll try to get an answer to that.
Do you know when you could get me an answer?
As soon as possible.
If those bills paid, the ones that are ready, if I check through the paid bills and I'm not really seeing them, are we holding up any bills? Do you have any of the bills that are floating around? Because I spoke with Robin and she said she hasn't seen an architect's bill come by her desk. Do they go someplace special first?
I'm not sure how to answer that question.
Should I rephrase it?
If you'd like.
Where do the bills go when they come in?
Get opened and then processed, eventually end up with the CFO.
So we have not received a bill from Sonnenfeld, the architect.
I don't know, but we can find that out.
You can find that out for me?
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Mike.
See, like 110 Second Avenue. Excuse me. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Just have one quick question. In the run-up to the election, Councilwoman-elect Janice Kuhn Blackburn indicated that she had some concerns about what she perceived to be the negative tone of questions and answers between people like myself or anybody else that, for that matter, that comes up and asks questions. And, her perception. She indicated that we currently have and are limited to 5 minutes. And then after the people are cycled through, you're allowed to speak again. She thought it would be better to limit it to just 1 5-minute session per person. And Mayor, I know I'm supposed to address the chair and I will, but I'd like to hear each councilperson's opinion. If Councilwoman-elect Blackburn would propose a amendment to the meeting protocol, is that the correct term? Of limiting public speaking to 1 5-minute section, would you support it and why?
Well, it's sort of a moot point. I think our attorney can explain this better. The mayor sits as a chair and runs the meeting.
Okay, then Mayor Doherty, would you support limiting public speaking to 1 5-minute session per person?
I haven't given it much thought.
Could you give it a little thought?
Sure.
Would you support limiting public speaking to one 5-minute session per person.
I'll have to think about it.
Okay. I would appreciate your answer on that. And I'd actually also appreciate the opinion of the other council people on that matter also. Thank you.
All right, I don't finally see anyone else. I'll make a motion to close the public portion and adjourn.
Second.
Belmar,